truth is, rent-to-own companies are sharks. A lot of people don't understand that the model that they get you with is, oh, it's $15 a week. Oh, it's $20 a week. It's $24.99. What most people don't understand is they prey on the lower class citizens that can't physically afford to go out and just drop $500 to $1,000 and buy what they need. So therefore they're forced to pay what seems like a better deal, essentially, because they're only paying, X amount per week. But when you calculate that into 104 weeks, which is 2 years, you're actually paying 3.5 to 5 times the current value of the product. And what they do is they pretty much mind manipulate you by giving you a cash price or a best value price of 120 days, 6 months on some places, depending on whether it be there's Aaron's, there's Rent-A-Center, there's Rent First, there's Buddies. There's going to be a lot of different rental places depending on where you actually are from. I would honestly be very, very cautious on how you handle those places, because they are going to do whatever they can to get you in, and they'll even get you sometimes by saying, hey, I'll give you 2 weeks for free, I'll give you a month for free. And in most places, all they're doing actually is not giving you any free time. They're actually essentially adding 2 weeks to the end of the agreement, and all that does is push that back further. So what you're thinking is valued as free time essentially is not free time. You do not pay anything more for it. So if you're paying $19.99 a week for 104 weeks, you're paying $2,078. That equated into a cash price as far as 90 days on a depending on the structure of the company, which is either going to be 50 or 55% on the cash price, is going to put you right at that same 90-day cash price. And then what they do is they typically get you afterwards with well, you can still pay this off after the 90 days or 120 days or 6 months, and we'll only make you pay 50% of the remaining value. So if the remaining value at that point after your 90 days, say, is $1,800, you're still paying $900, which is essentially just a little bit more than, or a little bit less than what your actual cash price would be from that moment. So just make sure you guys are very mindful of rent-to-own places. I see them as sharks. I worked for two different ones for a total of 5 years. I tried to do everything to help everybody that I could, but you also have to understand, in that business model, unfortunately, there's only so much you can do, because a lot of times I've seen people rent things for 6 months, 8 months, that same product come back and go up for another 2 years, just because the perceived value is still high. They're classifying it as a product that is in good condition, but essentially they're just reaping the rewards based off that product. So just be very mindful of that, because there's going to be a lot of situations where you think you're getting a great deal on something, and I mean, honestly, you're getting yourself handed to you backwards, because you are not really saving any money. I mean, that same product that they're giving you a cash value of, say, $1,000, just as an example, total life of that, you're going to pay $2,078. And the reality of it is that most people that come to a rent-to-own business cannot pay it off in 90 days or 120 days or even 6 months for that matter, which is essentially why they're coming to a rent-to-own business. So they really use those antics to get you to buy their product in contention that you feel that you're going to be able to pay that product off. And I'm not saying that some people can't, but the reality is, from 5 years of business, about 15% of the customer base can actually pay it off in that time frame, and it's actually probably a little bit less than that, but that's going to be pretty close. You can retain a lot of customers in the business. A lot of rent-to-own places also are very, very disrespectful when it comes from a collection perspective. They will harass you, they will beat you down, they do not understand good customer service and what it takes to actually retain customers. You can still do your job from a rent-to-own perspective and treat people with a lot of respect, but that's just not the reality in most places when it comes to these type of businesses. I'm not trying to put any of these businesses down or anybody who uses these businesses. I do understand that, they are there for a reason, and I do completely understand that. But the better option in this would be to definitely just build your credit. Work towards building it, especially if you start out with a basic card. You're getting a $200 limit. Typically, you'll put a $200 deposit down, and it's pretty easy to get up to that $500 limit, which if you can have a $500 expense that you pay back in, say, 6 months, it's going to be the same thing you're paying in a rent-to-own business. And I think that's just a far better option, considering you're not going to pay 4 times the cost. There's going to be no interest. Even if you do have a card that does have a 25% bearing interest, you're going to pay far less than what you're paying in a rent-to-own business. Hopefully this information helps that anybody who has any questions about rent-to-own or is considering renting from them. If you guys have any questions on building your credit and you would like to make a video about building credit for anybody who is needing it, I would be more than glad to help anybody who has any questions regarding it. Or if you have any other questions in rent to own as far as how everything works, I would be more than glad to give you any information on it. Typically, every business model is going to be slightly different, but essentially they are very, very similar. Some products will go out 52 weeks, 104 weeks, some of them even go 78 weeks. But that's the end of the video. If you guys will I appreciate you guys watching. If you'll like and subscribe, hopefully we'll have some more content on the next video. Thank you for watching.